I am your relief when a stranger walking behind you at night doesn't follow you down your street. Welcome back to the Void. I can comfortably predict that this update is going to be extremely long. Last time there was a feast. Colour was somehow surged out of every pore, and everyone's invited. Brother Warden watches on. I'm not sure how long he'll remain static for. It must be hard to move when you're attached to the ceiling. My garden is in full bloom, so I'm going to head straight there before Triumphator has his fill. I'll refrain from blowing your speakers out on this update. I'll be your guiding light. My main objective on this update is to head to Una's chamber, which requires opening Uta's second heart to gain access. She will require far more than Sister Death, since far more is required the deeper they are into the Void. In that sense, the Void appears as something of a downward slope where I start at the very top and work my way towards the base. I'm not sure how much that works as a model in other regards, but it's a nice enough piece of imagery. Since my goal revolves entirely around scavenging, the main point of interest will be all of the new brothers that will be appearing and stating their opinion. That means that this update will be far more segregated than previously, since the order that they speak to us is not fixed, but depends on whether we bump into them whilst in the Void. Feel free to walk away and come back to this later if the size becomes too overbearing. This garden, the Caves, gives you a much greater sense of the unsullied nature of Lympha. It flows around. When you drain it, it slowly fades away, shutting off one of the main sources of light for this chamber, and you start to wonder whether it would be better if you just left it alone. I almost missed that tree. You have to look carefully for extra passages beyond the first alcove. But I've successfully drained it all, and I won't set a trap now, because I'll probably be back before next cycle. Before the end of this update, I'm gonna have to find a source of Crimson or Azure or both. But for now, all I can do is pass Emerald and Silver through me, pending Uta's next visitation. But I may as well pass some Crimson for now, so that when I get the opportunity to plant it, I'll have enough to do so. I've acquired enough hearts to really start covering all of my bases at once, so I'm going to put everything through me at the moment. The sisters do show you in advance what you need, but it can always throw surprises at you. I may be putting all my eggs into one slowly crushing garbage disposal, but so long as I give myself enough time to head back to this garden from anywhere in the Void, I'll be okay in the long run. There's not enough in the Bastion mine to be worth my while, so instead I will hear the thoughts of one of our newcomers.
It's okay, brothers. He's not alive, he's quite dead. He's silent because he didn't pass the trials yet, and that's how it should be. You have already heard the first commandment. Thou must keep and must not give. I will tell you the truth about the blessing of consumption. Giving is an unquestionable evil. Therefore, consumption is an unquestionable good. But brothers, do not consume to survive. We consume only to preserve. And we do not give, because one who gives will fall prey to this addiction. Listen to the voice of color, young one, and do not be tempted. Follow the true path, and you'll be glorified alongside the righteous ones. Then the secrets of life will reveal themselves to you.
Well, that was genuinely reassuring. Who would have guessed that Triumphator would have been on our side? They talk about hearing colour, but I think they consider it more as a hypothetical, and it hasn't crossed their minds that I can hear it in actuality. If they knew that I could, no doubt they'd single me out, even more than they're doing at the moment. He said I couldn't speak because I hadn't yet passed the trials, which sounds like he's just trying to explain it away however he can. jumping to conclusions in his denial as much as the people siding against us.
I am Caterpillar, your mentor, and you are nobody, yet. Your one right and one responsibility is to study. The first lesson will merely give you food for reflection. Lymph of any color is precious. You must listen to the will of every color and combine colors carefully, as they do not like each other. The colors were a shocking discovery for us, as I know they are for you. There was nothing like them in our world. Lympha is our posthumous reward. We serve the Creator by preserving Lympha, but remember this: we do not know how to serve the colors. That is why color and danger are equal. Hearing the voice of color is a bad omen. Only the Devastators have this gift, but no one knows why. Perhaps you can help answer our questions.
Hooray! We've finally found a mentor in Caterpillar. Although it sounds like he's just using us to further their understanding. In fact, that's probably the only reason I'm still alive. He mentioned their posthumous reward, which implies that they believe themselves to be dead. And based on what Pitt was saying in the last update, that's the guy with the giant jaw for a base, if you can remember. Oh, Mantid is eating up this place here, so I'm not going to be able to get that. I'll head to this reservation instead. Pitt said I'm mute and therefore alive. I'm not sure if they tie together, they seem to be just making things up. And I was listening to the will of colour, but I think it's saying more to me than to them.
I am Tyrant, strongest of the brothers. Some of us doubt whether you are truly one of the righteous. Your appearance suggests that you have not suffered even 100th of what we went through for our ascension. So expect to prove your worth. If you are not who you say you are, then you are an enemy and a threat to the Creator, like the Sisters. Yet you have nothing to say because you are mute. I will not waste time on the obvious. If you come to tempt and destroy, there's no point in sharing knowledge with you. He brings death to the sleeper. He must be executed, brothers, and executed at once.
Tyrant is already freaky as hell, but the way he can shake a fist and wave a finger at the same time, he really has nothing nice to say. It's Ironclad, with arms crossed nonchalantly over his giant cannon. And finally we have the eldest brother, Patriarch. You could really see how his current form could have taken hints from how his soul appeared before he ended up in the void. It's quite fun to come up with backstories to these monstrosities. For instance, Tyrant could have incorporated all of the body parts that he removed from the victims of his serial killings. Perhaps Ironclad was the user or receiver of a volley of cannon fire. Triumphator was probably eaten alive by his band of crazy performing monkeys. Of course I'm wrong to assume they were all previously evil. Come up with your own explanations. And Mantid is still chewing away on the only other Azure reserve, so I'm gonna get this one while I can. Finally, I've got some time to think, so I can start tying together what all the brothers have told me so far. This feast has allegedly been thrown in my honour, but the term execution is still being used quite freely. When the brothers talk, they rarely address me directly, so I can assume they're working off the same facts, and know each other's opinions. Therefore it's quite suspect when there are discrepancies between what it means to hear colour. If one of them started fabricating the facts, then another brother would probably call them out on it, unless they were working in tandem like some overly intricate good cop bad cop routine. And for some reason Fireflies haven't shown up yet in the Fireflies reserve, so it looks like it's just Sprigs for me.
If you have a lot of patient emerald, your color will become viscous, and you'll lose much less of it when you're wounded.
Perfidious brigand. I'm not even sure what hit me.
I will give you the power to control time.
It's quite hard to keep track of all the information that's coming to light all at once, but there's something of major importance, which I have to mention. Caterpillar made it clear that he knows that there are those who can hear colour. It is a bad omen. He referred to them as the Devastators. I've used my colour mainly to bring life to new things, even if I then take it away afterwards, and it's only on a couple of occasions I've felt the need to defend myself. The brothers have tasked me very directly in using my destructive power to defeat the Pangolin, so maybe that's their